Hey, I'm Tina Fletcher, and I'm an occupational therapist, and I'd like to introduce you to my non-prescribed multisensory environment. And there's a couple of active ingredients in this room, and then there's a couple that are up for debate. So I'd like to introduce you to what a lot of people consider a standard package when they order a multisensory environment. And probably the most important elements of the environment are sometimes things that you can't see right away, but you might have to experience them. And that's really the combination of tactile, vestibular, meaning your sense of position in space, and proprioceptive, meaning what your joints are telling you about the position that you're in, sensations. So in this case, in the sensory room, we've got a tried and true sensory object, which is the weighted blanket. And typically, we have found in a sensory environment, you do not have to have a blanket like you would have a blanket on the bed, but you could use something like you might use in the car, or if you knew someone in a wheelchair, they have a lap pad, and that's a better size because when you're in a sensory room, you're typically sitting. And so our sensory blankets tend to weigh between 5 and 7 pounds, and although sometimes a magic formula is between 6 and 7% of your body weight for laying, we find that even a smaller amount of weight in a sensory environment seems to be effective in helping people achieve some self-regulation or calming them, helping them pull it together. So the weighted blanket is number one. And then the second element that we find is really popular is the chair that provides you with the forward and backwards movement, or as we therapists like to call it, the anterior-posterior movement. This chair is a standard issue patio furniture chair, glider, as opposed to a rocker, because we've found that rockers tend to move around, and people, if they're in a compressed space with other people, tend to get too close together, and sometimes they could get injured. So that's the second element, just like you're on a porch swing. You've got your weighted blanket, your forward and backward movement in the rocker, and then another element that's very popular in sensory rooms are the bubble tubes and the light sprays. And what we're hearing from people that have tried the room is it's more than just looking at the bubble tube, but it's feeling the vibration of the bubble tube. And a lot of people actually like to come over here and put their head on it, or hearing the sound of it. So you've got feeling the vibration, hearing the sound, and then seeing the visual display. And like a lot of commercially available bubble tubes, this one is synced so that the light spray actually changes colors at about the same time the bubble tube does. So final item, well, there's actually two final items in this sensory room, is we do have a standard visual display that comes with the sensory rooms, and it is produced by a video camera, although you'll see them in other types of sensory kits that are more like light sprays that go across the ceiling as opposed to a projector image. And then the last one is the sound, which the sound that we were provided with remind me a little bit of nature sound CDs from Target, but people do like either having white noise or ambient kind of noise in their non-prescribed multisensory environment. Now I'll tell you about a few things that you don't see in here. Oh, we also have, you might call these beanbag chairs, but these are officially called puffs. And a puff goes around your skin when you sit down in it. So again, it's providing you the same kind of pressure as a weighted blanket. So things that we've tried that have not been as effective for people have been related to olfactory systems. People in general do not like aromatherapy in these rooms, and the impression that we were given from a lot of occupational therapy students is that you can make a decision about whether you want to sit on a certain type of furniture or if you want to have a weighted blanket on, but you cannot escape the ambience of the the different kinds of smells. So no matter what it is, they prefer not to have it. The other thing that's important about a sensory environment is that you can control the lighting. And so this room actually has a very large observation window. We've got an opaque curtain, and it never goes up. because we pull our lights from here. So just to recap it for you, the magic ingredients in this room are related to tactile, vestibular, and proprioceptive input to your body, and the ones that are not so successful are related to smells and bells. Thanks.